Welcome to the Play Ratings. Today, Lou and I will be discussing the Palace 1 Brentford 2 result at Selhurst Park. Again, we appreciate all of your support. We really do. So remember to like and subscribe. If you have any comments about what Lou and I have to say or about the ratings, please pop them down in the comments after the show. Lou, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay. We've enjoyed quite a good run of form recently, and as football fans, we want it to go on and go on. But sometimes you just have to accept a loss and move on.
Yeah, our fan base having a hard time with that. But
Hmm.
lucky enough, yesterday I drove down to Philadelphia to spend some time with my son and some mates at a pub and watch a game. It wasn't a great game, but it was great to spend time down there. But it was a tough watch yesterday, it really was. And it's harder to watch with friends when you're trying to enjoy your time when the team's playing so poorly. But let's get into the
Hmm.
ratings. We'll start with Dean Henderson. Both gave him a 5. I'll go first. Conceded 2 goals. Was good on crosses and corners. He only made 4 saves. Distribution wasn't very good. 59% passing, 37% on long balls. I love the yellow card that he got, frustration after the penalty kick. But besides that, nothing else positive. What about you?
Listen, couldn't really do much about the penalty. It's a great header by Shade, however you pronounce it. Yeah, he absolutely levered the ball at the Brentford players. And the worst thing is, I think the player who hit it into a net, he wasn't even annoying him. He was just so angry, and I'm happy to see that. It means something to him.
Yeah, I like that too. Move on to Danny Munoz. I gave him a 6. You gave him a 5. When you go on Danny Munoz.
It was a good assist for the goal, but take that assist away. Honestly, I said it on the stream when I was with the watch along with Tim. His quality in the final third on the ball is not good enough. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep going over and moaning, but when you play this formation, this system, your wing backs have got to be your most creative players a lot of the time, and he gets into good positions, and I just feel there's something lacking there. It would be better if we had maybe a Juff type player on left wing back on the other side, but we're not really getting great output from both sides. So it takes away even more from Munoz. But again, he tried hard. He got an assist. He got in decent positions, but sometimes he gets in the positions, and I'm just thinking he's not the player I want to be on the ball in those positions.
Yeah, I understand. Again, he did have that assist, but you're right, and he did try to push up high on the right hand side. But when you're lacking, and we'll get to the center midfielders in a bit, when you're lacking creativity from those, you're relying on you have to have wing backs that create more, and he didn't. I will give him credit for the following though. He had 5 tackles, the most one in the game. And he had 2 clearances, and 6 out of 8 duels won. And I thought honestly, besides the goal, and I'll get into the shot goal later on because it's who's to blame. Munoz kept him quiet most of the game. I thought he did a good job on Shada. So I
Yeah,
mean, he was on that
like
side.
I
But
said,
again,
when he hasn't got the ball, he's good.
yeah, you're right.
Mm.
Other wing back, sorry, Tyreek Mitchell. Both gave him a 4. I'll go first on Tyreek. Um, just didn't have a good game yesterday. Going forward, 0 for 2 on accurate crosses, 70% passing. Did create that one chance for Eze. He had a shot in the 32nd minute, but on the penalty, I don't know what he's doing on that play. He has to clear that ball better. He just has to. I thought Bremo was dangerous all game. So listen, I gave him credit. And Bremo's a hard guy to play against on that side. But on the penalty, man, just clear the ball properly. I just thought Ty had a poor game. And again, we can get into it all the day about him needing a rest, he needing someone to push him. But left wing back is a necessity for this window. We haven't got him yet.
Yeah, listen, really poor performance. I thought he was good defending again because that's his main attribute. He's a very good 1v1 defender. And Buemo did nothing apart from the penalty. I don't think he was very influential. Yeah, there was a time in the second. Was it the goal or the one where he like took the extra touch and it just slipped and it just rolled out of play? Was
Right
that
before that was right during that same sequence. It was. Yep. It was. Yep.
when that happened? I was just like, yeah, we just don't deserve anything when we play like this. And I was getting really frustrated on the stream yesterday because yesterday none of the basics were done well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. 3 centre half to talk about. We'll start with the best of the 3, and that'll be for me, Mark Gahey. I gave him a 6. You gave him a 6. Why don't you go first, and I'll talk about Gahey after you're done.
Yeah, Gahey was good. He's the only person who probably came out of, apart from Esse, with any credit with that game. He was let down by his teammates. It's hard to have a go at him for the penalty, but that little in-game management, I come to realize people don't understand the rules of football, because if you encroach into the D, it's a retake. If you affect the game, if you affect the penalty, if he'd let Mbeumo touch it first, it would have been a free kick to us. But it's a split second. It's not even a second. It's milliseconds decisions. And obviously, he's so intent on getting the ball and clearing it, he doesn't really think about it as much. And I'm guessing if he doesn't encroach, then it's a legitimate clearance. So yeah, it's a tough one to take, especially after someone like Mbeumo does not miss penalties. So when he missed that, I thought, oh, okay, this is the moment we needed to push us towards getting a win. So it was very frustrating, and I knew there was no way he was ever going to miss that second penalty.
Well, I mean, 2 of the players had their hands up before he put the ball in the net. So you're right. And the stat is he hasn't missed a Premier League penalty
Never.
his whole career. Right. So that one doesn't count. Yeah, you're right. People don't know the rules. The only negative to me for Gahey was the fact that, one, we gave up 2 goals, but the fact that he encroached. But again, for him to decide not to touch the ball, you're not going to do that. I mean, he will next time, I'm sure. But like in the spirit of the game, or the spirit in the moments of the game, you're not going to say, okay, let me let him get a second touch, which will be illegal, and you will get a free kick. He's going to try and clear the ball. So it's unfortunate, but it happened. But I don't think he played a poor game. It's just that, again, we gave up 2 goals, and the encroachment will be our lasting memory of that game for him. But I don't think he played poorly yesterday.
Quick one with that penalty. I know everyone was moaning about the Lacroix one, but I definitely think it was handball by Hughes. We'll get onto it next anyway. So
yeah, that's a good point, and it was a penalty. But let's
because
go to him right now.
Gahey kicked the ball at Hughes, wasn't it?
Yeah, he cleared it to Hughes. But I do think that because of the proximity from that standpoint, maybe that's why the referee didn't call it. Who had a bad game? I won't even get into that referee, but I thought that referee did not have a great game. But again, the penalty was fine, encroachment was fine, but other things in the game I didn't like. But get to Max Lacroix. I gave him a 4. You gave him a 4. I'll get into the stats first, and then we'll get into the eye test. Stats, passing was for him really poor, 73%. 9 clearances though, 8 recoveries, 7 passes into the final third. And he was, I'm going to say he was beaten on the Shada header, but I have to go. I'm going to get into that goal now. Shada gets the ball to midfield and just drives the ball forward. At that point, Richards, who I'll get to next, is actually marking Wissa. He left Wissa to try and challenge Shada. I'm not sure it's necessarily Richards' fault or Lacroix's fault. My biggest problem in Lacroix is you cannot make that challenge on. It was Collins, right? Who basically, like it was sniper shot in the box. But that you can't make that. You can't make that challenge. It was a silly penalty to concede. I understand. Again, it's a head loss moment as a defender. You want to clear the ball. Mitchell could have cleared it. You're right about Gahey and Hughes off the hand, but you can't make that thing. But I just thought that is the underlying part of the game for him as far as the mistake. I don't think he was great yesterday, but that one penalty decision or the penalty situation was the worst part of the game for me. But what are your thoughts on Max yesterday?
Yeah, it wasn't great yesterday. I did say there wouldn't be a player playing up against him, and they'd find those little pockets. And Damsgaard, I thought, was probably the best player on the pitch yesterday. They was all floating around in those gaps. When you got 2 players like Hughes and Lerma in midfield as well, it's perfect game plan for them to sit in and find those pockets in between our defense and our midfield. He didn't make very good line breaking passes, but then he shouldn't really have to. That's the midfielder's job. A lot of them were fired into Mateta, or they were going out wide.
Right.
It just wasn't a pretty watch all round. We can probably say the same thing for every single player we go through today.
Yeah. Actually, I want to go back to Ty, by the way. The second goal, that goal we're talking about, the shorter goal, Mitchell has to do a better job of trying to stop that cross. Damsgaard has crossed up way too much. So I forgot to mention that during Mitchell's rating. But yeah, that's another reason why he just didn't stop that cross. And again, defensively, that's his strong, so he's got to do better on that. But yeah, let's go to Chris Richards next. I gave him a 5, you gave him a 4. Why don't you go first, Richards, and I'll tell you why I gave him a slightly higher rating, even though I don't think he played that bad. I thought defensively we weren't great yesterday.
I thought first half he won a lot of duels, ground duels. I feel like he won the ball quite a lot. There was times where they were threatening to get into really good positions, and he stopped them 1v1. Um, I think yesterday I've banged on about our right hand side lacking so much technical ability. Sar's a direct runner, Munoz is a direct runner. Yesterday that clearly showed that
Yeah.
that side is technically enough for this league. We cannot build. There's no patterns of play there. It's all like a bit bobbly, just trying to get little deflections. No patterns of play. There's no creativity. There's not passing patterns weren't there. It was yesterday was horrible to watch. And Frank is a tactical manager. If that was me, I would target that side as well, me personally. And I feel like that's what happened, and he stifled us.
No, you're absolutely right. Again, because I think first half I thought Richard was fine. He had 82% passing,
Mm.
5 clearances overall, 2 recoveries, and 3 out of 3 tackles won. But you're right. Duels. He lost 9 duels yesterday. You can't lose 9 duels, and that's the biggest thing. And again, I'm not going to kill him on a shot goal. Like I said, Shada drove the ball, passed it out to Damsgaard. Mitchell doesn't stop the cross.
Great header.
And a great header, and they collided heads. It's not like he gave him a free header. They collided heads. That's why they both got sucked off. So he was there. So I can't kill him for that. It's just that, like you just said, technically, and I've always said that, but I'm being honest about him. That's not his strong suit. He's very strong defensively, good in the air, but technically he's not a great player. So you've got to have someone else on that side, and we have 2 players that just don't help him. So that's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
But again, it was just tough defensively yesterday.
Like, I always talk about that ball. I feel like we can't play it. That one as a right centre back that goes in behind their left hand side over the top into a good area. It never happens. It's always under hit. It never goes, or it'll go out for a throw in. It's quite frustrating. Yesterday highlighted everything wrong. There's loads of stuff right with our club and our team, but yesterday showed everything that's wrong at the moment.
Excellent point. Excellent point. You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, that with our fan base, it kind of becomes magnified when we get one loss. I mean, that's our first loss in 7, and all of a sudden now, you know, our fan base has gone crazy. And I get it, but it's just that, you're right. Everything wrong was magnified yesterday in that game against Brentford. Let's move on to our midfield. But before we even get to the midfield, I want to go Lerma first. I want to talk about how he struggled to beat team that set up in a low block. And that's what happened yesterday. Brentford was so smart. We get to the managers later on, but Brentford was so smart. In a low block, you need better technical midfielders than Lerma and Hughes. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons. We're going to get to Esse obviously later on, but I thought Lerma yesterday passing was so poor. Now he did do some really good things yesterday. Passing though was 56%, meaning he basically half his passes weren't completed to a Palace player. You can't have that in a 2-man midfield. Whatever you want to call it, 4-man midfield with obviously Eze and Saul, or actually Munoz and Mitchell going in midfield. 3 clearances, two interceptions, 7 recoveries. He did have a couple of chances where he had missed a header on a Hughes free kick. His long throws tried to create something but didn't really work. But the issue with Lerma is, and I love his work rate and his pressing, but because he's so poor passing, or just technically in general, we rely too much on Hughes and Eze. And yesterday it just showed. You mentioned Damsgaard. A player like that is going to thrive when you've got players in midfield like Lerma who just can't, get about the pitch and make better passes. But what are your thoughts on Lerma yesterday?
I know this might be a bit controversial, but I think it was Lerma's fault for their second goal. There's a moment where we clear the ball and the ball's going up the field, and Lerma sprints all the way from the edge of our box. Sprints. The ball goes back to their goalkeeper. He's sprinting, chasing down the goalkeeper. As soon as that happens, ball gets clipped straight back into midfield.
Yep, big gap.
Hughes is in the midfield by himself. Lerma's absolutely knackered. He cannot get back. And I don't understand that whole British thing about, go and chase down those lost balls, do this and that. It did not help us one bit. At that moment, we needed calm. We needed calm heads. We needed someone to get on the ball, keep it moving, move Brentford side to side, find gaps. And he just went rogue and said, I'm just going to sprint down and chase down this keeper. And that was the first thing that was wrong with that goal. Because Sade had so much room in that midfield.
Yeah, to just carry.
He had the whole pitch.
Yep, carry
And
the
in the
ball
mid,
far as you want.
how's that? If we've got 2 6s, that should never happen at any time. 3 at the back and 2 6s. Again, he does loads. He's great in the air for winning longer balls. But again, yeah, 50% passing rate in a 2-man midfield is there's no way you can win.
Unforgivable. Yeah, you're right. Will Hughes, I gave him a 6. You gave him a 5 or a 6. It was a 5.
5.
Okay, so why don't you go first on Hughes?
Yeah, I said Brentford's 2 midfielders are similar to Hughes, but I think they work a bit better together.
They do.
Like they do. I think Norgard's passing ranges is really good. There was about 10-15 minutes in the first half where he finally started getting on the ball, and he was playing those balls over the top of our fullbacks into great areas. I said we can't let Norgard dictate play, and who got on? He ended up getting a knock and Jensen coming on.
Right.
We couldn't capitalize on that. I just feel like their midfield marshaled ours. It was just they done a job on us properly. Hughes couldn't really do anything. He don't have the athleticism to get around the pitch that much. He doesn't. There's no goal threat. Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, 79% passing for Hughes, created a chance, the one I talked about with Lerma. But you want to take a amount of guesses that the number of tackles that Lerma and Hughes made yesterday each?
That attempted or completed
Completed tackles.
between them.
One each.
Yeah, there you go. No
I mean,
turnovers.
right, exactly. You can't have that. And again, I mean, I'm not trying to kill Hughes and Lerma because, like I said, it's just that I'll say it. We need Wharton back in the worst way. We need Wharton back in the worst way. Wharton just adds something to that, a technical aspect, a passing aspect, a ball retention aspect that they don't have. And even the ability to win a ball, and Wharton's a very good tackler. So I know I'm banging on about it. I hate doing it. I'm sorry. But it's just necessary. Let's move on to Eberechi Eze. I gave him a 6, you gave him a 4.5. So since you have the lower score, I think I'll go first for a little bit of positivity. Did create 5 chances on 5 shots. He had the free kick hit the post at 0-0. Obviously, had a pass to Munoz for the Esse goal. 79% passing. 6 out of 11 ground duels won. 8 recoveries. Again, I get it's not good enough, and I get he has to do more. But I will say this: I know there's one point in the game, and I heard it very clearly. He has the ball and he stops, and you hear the crowd like going crazy. But I'm telling you, Lou, as a player, I know you played. There's nobody moving forward. There's nobody moving from the pass the ball to. So I get the part that people are frustrated, but I'm telling you, we don't have enough movement from Hughes, Lerma yesterday, also Sarr and Mateta. Because again, they're playing deeper, obviously Brentford, so there's no real space in behind where obviously you want to get Sarr in behind or Mateta. There's no space behind them. And I get the fan getting upset, but there was no room yesterday. I don't think he played great yesterday, don't get me wrong. And 6 might be a little bit thing, but he is trying to do things that just basically create by himself. There's no one else in the team to create for him. But anyway, that's my Eze part over. Why don't you tell me about how you thought Eze played yesterday?
First half, I was really frustrated. There's loads of times where we managed to break lines, and he went backwards or made the wrong decision. It's a golden opportunity when Sarr puts him through in the first half, and I just don't understand the touch. He took a touch onto his left foot.
Yes, good point.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? That really frustrated me first half. Second half, you can say the free kick, but it was a shocking free kick that hit a Brentford defender's shin and curled onto the outside of the post. Brilliant ball for Munoz for the goal. Not great set pieces. He had the free kick at the end, not great. It's just disappointing. It's just disappointing. I don't want to bash him, but yeah, I thought it was a very poor performance from him.
Fair enough.
But I'm not here to say I've seen certain people say his head's not in it. He doesn't care.
Ridiculous.
This and that. You're clueless about football. You don't know anything.
I don't. That's not it. It's other things factor. That's not the factor. It's mainly a Sarr. I gave him a 4. You gave him a 3. I probably could have given the same as you. I just thought he was very quiet in the first half. He tried to do again. There's no space for him to run in behind. So what's he really going to do? You're right about the right-sided technical part for him and Munoz and Richard. It's not there. 23 touches, 62% passing, no shots, no chances created. Didn't really press Lewis Potter in that first half when he really could have put more pressure on him. But I just thought he's had a lot of good games. Yesterday he just didn't really help us do anything. But your thoughts on Sarr yesterday?
So this, I think he was a big factor in why we couldn't create anything yesterday. Um, Again, Thomas Frank obviously seen what Sarr can do, how he plays, and it's not hard to defend. If I was playing against Sarr, I'd drop a little bit deeper. I'd let him maybe get on the ball in the areas that he doesn't really want it, then press really up his ass because he doesn't like playing with his back to goal. There was no space in behind. He's not great lumping the ball up to him. But again, we didn't even attempt to play balls over Lewis Potter's head. At what point did any player hit a diag or hit one down the line in behind Potter? There was
Agree.
not
No one.
there was not one point. Again, I remember there was a time in the first half where the ball gets played into Lerma. He turns out, the switch is on, but there's no one's there.
Right.
And then it ends up being rotated back to the centre back, and that goes back to me about passing triggers and understanding how when a player receives the ball, what their next best pass is. Why are people not noticing? And Sar's a great player. He's quick. He's got an eye for goal, but he's not creative. I don't think he's a very intelligent player. And yesterday required that little bit of, I don't know how to explain it. It didn't need brute force and pace. It just needed the intricacies. It needed balls threaded through. It needed us to commit players. I don't. There was times where we was very passive and no one was going forward to commit Brentford players to come out. So yeah, I feel like that inside left forward was a big issue yesterday because the player profile just didn't suit what we had to do to win the game. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
Last
better off playing Kamada in there that yesterday. I don't know.
we talked about that. Remember we talked about it in the preview.
Not
No,
even not
sorry,
centre
preview.
mid. If you played Kamada where Sarr was,
Oh, as a 10. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Right sided 10. Yeah. Last starter, John Philip Mateta, both gave him a 4. You go first. There's not much for me to say about it. He just wasn't into it, but
I'll
you can
tell
go
you what.
first.
Collins and Van der Berg done well.
Fair.
They done well. They grabbed him enough to not give away a free kick. They kicked him. Yeah, well done. Listen, like I said, I always say I rate Thomas Frank. He got his tactics perfectly right, and they nullified Mateta. The one time we did get in was the brilliance from Esse, the flick. I normally back JP on his left foot to like maybe drill that hard and low.
Right.
But yeah, good save is what it is. We move on, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's not much to say. Listen, he's going to have games where he's not involved. Yesterday, had 23 touches fewest of anybody that played the entire match. And you're right. You got to give credit where it's due. They both played him very well yesterday. I can't complain again. He's not going to be able to have 10 out, 8, 9 out of 10 games all the time. Just one involved yesterday. Let's get to the subs. And there's not much to talk about besides one player, obviously, the one stand-up player. But we'll go to Kamada. Was not really enough to do anything. And Ketche both gave him a 4. You want to add
He
anything
was
to Ketia?
he was really really poor when he came on.
Yeah, I
Really
mean,
poor. But Glasner came out and said he was going to go 4-4-2, which would have suited him more. But
I,
at the end of I know, yeah, we're at the stage where we're making excuses for the players because there is an excuse. He's not a number 10,
right.
but that pet hate is that when he gives away those fouls, that
Yeah.
that tips me over the edge a little bit. But I'm not gonna berate him. It was a hard game to come on and change.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I remember that because I know that it was I think it was at 1-0, right? He wanted to go 4-4-2, couldn't get the ball out of play and make that change. It would have been it would have been much better for us. That's we're gonna get to Glasner in a bit, but yeah, because that would have really helped. I don't want to see him in the 10 anymore. I think you have to see him. I think Kamada and Esse compared to 10, right sided especially, and he comes as a striker. He's always seems to me do better as a striker. But let's go to both our man of the matches with a 6, but you got to give credit to Romain Esse. Was on, I think it was 26 seconds in, gets his first goal. I like the celebration. No people are killing him. We were down 2-1. Listen, the kid just scored his first Premier League goal in front of the homes there, in front of home. He's going to be excited about it. Mitchell did a great job. Ran over to him, grabbed him. Let's get back. Mateta just, was happy. Listen, I thought he did well for his first, little, part of a Premier League game. But what are your thoughts on Romain Esse yesterday?
Yeah, he looks still. I can tell he looks raw. I can tell he was a bit nervous, even though after he
I
scored,
agree.
because
Yeah.
it's a tough game to come on. Like he's got his goal. Yeah, he celebrated, but people. I know there's people who watch this who probably celebrate a goal at five-a-side against some 50-year-olds. So when a 19-year-old scores on his Premier League debut with his first touch, obviously people are gonna create narratives online, and he's gonna get clipped and stuff like that. But who cares? All these pages posted him. That what have they done with their life? He's 19, scoring in the Premier League. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no problem with
And
that.
if we're talking in context, their player was down,
Right, so
injured.
nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna start the retake
Nothing.
anyway. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Didn't
Yeah.
restart for another 2 minutes, but
Right. So
please. I know people are. Even saw people saying get Esse on in the chat. Guess it. Yes, he should get minutes, but he is not the savior. He is not.
gotta be careful of that. Gotta be careful of that.
Mm.
Let's get to our manager, Oliver Glasner. I gave him a 6, you gave him a 5. Again, I thought the lineup, I don't have any issues with it because as far as I'll say one thing. I actually probably would have started Kamada based on what he did before. We talked about during the preview, but
Mm.
I wasn't mad at this when I saw Hughes and Lermer. I just mad at the first when I at the outcome. Lineup was fine tactically. Again, we can't break down a low block. I think we got to figure that out. And again, whether you just said before, whether start Kamada over Sar as a right 10, maybe he can do a better job. Maybe not have players like Lermer pressing, one man pressing and doing that would be helpful. Maybe getting technical players on the right side that can help. Maybe get Eze in a different position. I don't know what it is. And again, the subs, getting Esse on, I thought was good. Getting Etse on would have been better in the 4-4-2. But like you said, he couldn't do it at that time because of the circumstances on the pitch. You know, they weren't able to bring the sub on. So I don't have a lot. But again, he was definitely out managed yesterday by Thomas Frank. So that's why I gave him
Yeah,
6.
that's why I gave him a 5. Listen, like I said, didn't I? He thrives against managers who play one way, who have a philosophy. Frank is not that guy. Frank done what Glasner does to other people. Okay,
Exactly.
this is how you play away. This is how you play at home. I know how you play at home. I know you're on a good run and form, so you're probably not really going to tweak much because you've been winning. Why would you all of a sudden change it? Glasner needed something. He needed to do something different to get Frank off the scent because he's. You saw straight away they turn it into an absolute scrap of a game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Even
And
on the side,
and referee helped
even
them
when
do
I
that.
was
Yeah.
watching it, even when I watched it on the side, Frank had all his notes that he was going through, and Glasner was kind of just like, don't know what I'm going to do here. And it's like Frank knew that game plan. He knew it. He knew what was going to happen, and it kind of felt like it was going to go that way anyway. But next week, Man United, we're probably more set up to play against someone like that away from home. I feel like that's more of a game for us, but he needs reinforcements. There's no way he can change a style of play with the same players over and over again.
Yeah, big week coming up. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the play ratings. Please like and subscribe. Again, if you have any comments about it, please drop them in the comment section. Remember to drop the like if you can. That's it from me and Lou. We'll have content coming out obviously on the Man United game, but until next time, up the Palace.